Today we're going to be discussing the top RIA databases and how you can access RIAs across the country and wealth managers across the globe, really. When you think about the RIA channel, it can be really hard to tap for four main reasons. The first and most important is that it's a decentralized decision-making process, right? If you're thinking about calling on banks, broker-dealers, wirehouses, it's very clear. You get approval at the home office, you work down to the underlying financial advisors who work off of their models and select lists and make decisions that way. With RIAs, particularly those that custody at Schwab and Fidelity, these independent RIAs can operate totally on their own, make decisions very quickly, which can be exciting, but there's no real systematic approach to getting decision-making done, right? You have to just be sure you're on them and making sure you're aligning the strategy with the interests of both the advisor and the underlying client. Next up is the geographic dispersion of these RIAs. Again, not to say that fundraising is ever easy, but if you're thinking about calling on, endowments, foundations, it's very clear what cities are a hotbed for that, right? You have Boston, you have Philly, you have New York, you have Chicago, LA, right? But there's obviously many more I'm not mentioning, which you can track in Marketplace. When you're thinking about RIAs and wealth managers, the wealth is dispersed really around the country, right? It's not just one easy trip to New York to meet with all the RIAs in your coverage area. You have to be thinking about, hey, I'm going into Philly, right? But I also need to make sure I'm meeting with firms in Bryn Mawr, in Havertown, in Conestoga, in Wilmington, Delaware, right? You have to sort of be all over the place. Geographic dispersion is really hard. Again, it all wraps back to that centralized decision making, but these RIAs are everywhere. The third is the product structure compatibility. This again goes hand in hand with the decision making, but a lot of these RIAs are doing a lot of different things. Some clients of wealth managers only want to be tracking the S&P, for example, or totally invested in ETFs. Some of these RIAs are managing their own strategies internally, which is difficult if you're trying to get your strategy approved. They obviously would not be a great fit for you. Many more and more of these RIAs every single day are starting to allocate to alternatives as their clients are bringing that demand to them. Aligning these interests and aligning the product structure and compatibility with the advisor and the end client can be very difficult. And the databases that have been historically available have not been super good at doing that. Which takes us very nicely to the fourth reason that the RIA channel is so difficult to crack, the database limitations, right? Again, I'll keep using the institutional space for example. If you're calling on endowments, if you're calling on pensions, if you're calling on foundations, a lot of this data is public, right? It's very easy to go out and just look up, hey, where is XYZ pension fund investing? Same with the endowments. Where it becomes very difficult with these RIAs is a few things. One, not all of them allocate to third-party money managers. Two, it's very difficult to identify who is a key contact, who's client service versus who's actually making investment allocation and due diligence decisions. And then finally, where are they located, what do they invest in, and all the other things you need. Today, as we mentioned, we're going to walk through two different database tools that can help you as you look to alleviate the challenges from all four of those things I just mentioned. As you know, here at Dakota, we advocate for a two-pronged approach as it pertains to reaching out to and raising money from RIAs. The first is maintaining a very highly curated and up-to-date database, and the next is city scheduling with folks in your metro areas that buy what you're selling. As you think about different database tools, two that we want to call out. The first is discovery data. If you're focused on seeing the entire universe of RIAs, whether or not they allocate to third-party money managers and inclusion of all of the individual financial advisors, and then you want to be taking the time to do the extra work in finding out, hey, do these people invest in my asset class? Do they allocate to third-party money managers? And then reaching out that way, you have discovery data as a great resource for you. The other we want to call out is Dakota Marketplace. If you don't want to be spending time prospecting and instead you want to be focused on doing what matters most, which is raising money for your investment strategy, Dakota Marketplace is where to go. With coverage of over 15,000 RIAs, 3,700 of them that we have identified allocate to third-party money managers. You can log in right away and see in just a few clicks who are all the RIAs that I should be thinking about calling on. Who invests in third-party money managers? Who are the key analysts and contacts? What do they invest in? What have they invested in the past? And how should I think about reaching out to them? With our metro area approach, you can click into New York City, Boston, St. Louis, Chicago, Seattle, LA, you name it, and see who are all the RIAs in that area. Not only just the full world of RIAs, but again, with the curation of knowing these firms invest in third-party money managers. How are we able to do this so successfully? Because we've been raising money against RIAs ourselves since 2006 and even longer if you think about some of our partners. So both of these databases offer a different approach, right? You have discovery data, which is going to offer sort of this shotgun approach of, hey, here's everything on earth. Let me see what kind of meetings I get. And then you have the Dakota Marketplace curated and tailored approach to take your rifle shot, identify exactly who's important to you, and reach out to them appropriately. If you want to learn more, you can book a demo of Dakota Marketplace below. We're very excited to be showing you what we've built.